published 7:22 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 4th of May 2018, updated 12:17 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 4th of May 2018. Arsene Wenger's dream of winning a European trophy with his beloved Arsenal is over after they were knocked out of the Europa League against Atletico Madrid. On Thursday night, Wenger looked devastated following the final whistle at the Wanda Metropolitano, ruining his missed opportunity to seal a maiden European trophy with the Gunners and failing to secure Champions League football for the club next season. Here, Sportsmail takes a look at his full European campaigns managing Arsenal, including the heartbreaking near misses back in 2000 and 2006. Arsene Wenger's dream of winning a European trophy with Arsenal is sadly over now. 1997-98 UEFA Cup first round. Dan Wenger's first full campaign in charge of the Gunners, Arsenal entered the then UEFA Cup first round after finishing third in the league the previous season. They were drawn against Greek outfit PAOK, a club noted for hooligan troubles. In the first leg, Arsenal were defeated 1-0 through Costas Franciscos. With it all to do in the return leg, Dennis Bergkamp gave Arsenal the lead after 22 minutes, but a late effort from Zissis Vriesas ensured the North London outfit failed to progress past the first round for a second consecutive season. Arsenal were narrowly defeated in the UEFA Cup first round against Greek outfit PAOK 1998-99. Champions League group stage. Wenger took charge of his first Champions League campaign with Arsenal after guiding them to his first Premier League title. Arsenal, who played their games at Wembley during this European campaign, were drawn against Lens, Dynamo Kiev and Panathinaikos. However, they failed to get to grasp with playing at Wembley and endured an underwhelming campaign, winning just 2 games to finish third in the group on 8 points behind Lens and Kiev. Arsenal failed to get out of group in Wenger's first Champions League campaign in 1998-99, 2000 Champions League group stage. UEFA Cup runners-up for the second season running, the Frenchman guided Arsenal into Europe's top-tier competition after finishing second in the league behind arch-rivals at the time Manchester United. Again, Arsenal played the European games at Wembley, but once more failed to get out of their group stage playing against Barcelona, Fiorentina and AIK. They finished third and dropped into the UEFA Cup, deciding to play the matches at Wembley, with Arsenal reaching the final after beating Nantes, Deportivo, Werder Bremen and Lens on the way in the knockout stages. And the final in Copenhagen spelled Wenger's first European final heartbreak as they lost 4-1 on penalties to Galatasaray after drawing 0-0 following extra time. Arsenal were defeated in the UEFA Cup final on penalties against Galatasaray back in 2001 Champions League quarter-finals. Wenger enjoyed his best Champions League campaign to date with the Highbury outfit since joining from Nagoya Grampus 8 in 1996. After successfully guiding Arsenal through the first and second group stage, the club's run ended in the quarter-finals when they were defeated on away goals by Valencia. The Gunners won the home leg 2-1 thanks to second-half goals from Thierry Henry and Ray Parlour, but came undone at the Mestalla. Arsenal were 14 minutes away from reaching the semi-finals before John Carew struck for Valencia to ensure Arsenal were undone by the away goals rule, drawing 2-2 on aggregate. Arsenal crashed out of the quarter-final stage of the Champions League to Valencia 2001-02 Champions League second group stage. Arsenal progressed through the initial group stage, finishing second in the table playing against the likes of Panathinaikos, Mallorca and Shakhtar. However, they went no further after this, after enduring a difficult second group stage. They ended up third in the very tough group consisting of eventual runners-up Bayer Leverkusen, Deportivo and Juventus. Arsenal walk off the pitch in dejection after the match against Juventus during 2001-02 term 2002-03 Champions League second group stage. Once more, reigning English top-flight winners, Arsenal failed to progress any further than the second group stage under Wenger. Following a first-placed finish in the first group stage, the star-studded side failed to make the most of their opportunity in the next round. The Gunners finished third yet again despite a brilliant start to the group. After Thierry Henry netted a hat-trick in Arsenal's 3-1 victory over Roma in the first game, they were then held to 4 draws, 3 at home against Roma, Valencia and Ajax. They needed a victory to progress to the knockout stages in the final game but were defeated 2-1 by Valencia at the Mestalla. Arsenal really came unstuck at home. John Carew celebrates scoring against Arsenal in March 2003 as Valencia beat Arsenal 2-1 2003-04 Champions League quarter-finals. This campaign will go down as arguably Wenger's biggest missed opportunity. Arsenal, who went the Premier League season unbeaten in 2003-04, finished top of their group despite a slow start, with a 5-1 victory over Inter Milan at the San Siro standing out as one of Wenger's greatest European triumphs. They went on to beat Celta Vigo 5-2 in the round of 16 but were heartbreakingly undone by London rivals Chelsea in the quarter-finals. After Robert Perez cancelled out Ada Gudjonsson's goal at Stamford Bridge to level the last 8 tie at 1-1, Arsenal went into the second leg at Highbury as favourites. And they started the return leg on the front foot with José Antonio Reyes giving Arsenal the lead in first half stoppage time. However, Chelsea turned the game on its head much to the dismay of the home crowd, with Frank Lampard netting before Wayne Bridge of all people netted on 87 minutes as the visitors ran out 3-2 aggregate winners. Highbury was stunned and in a state of shock. Wenger will definitely rue this campaign as a huge missed opportunity and would have fancied his chances of winning the whole thing, with Chelsea, Monaco, Porto and Deportivo making up the last 4. Wayne Bridge scored late on at Highbury as Chelsea beat Arsenal in the quarter-finals 2004-05 Champions League. Last 16 Arsenal topped their group stage ahead of PSV, Panathinaikos and Rosenborg but were halted at the next stage. Wenger's side were defeated 3-2 on aggregate against Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich, after going down 3-1 at the Olympic Stadium in Munich in the first leg of the last 16 tie they put on. A brave performance at Highbury. Henry scored in the second half with a powerful drive past Oliver Kahn, but it wasn't enough as the Gunners crashed out of the Champions League. Arsenal crashed out at the last 16 stage of the 2004-05 Champions League versus Bayern Munich 2005-06 Champions League finalists. The Frenchman will look back on this campaign with the most heartbreak for sure after reaching the final. Arsenal topped their group stage and went on a brilliant run during the knockout stages, beating Real Madrid against the odds in the last 16 stage, with Henry scoring a brilliant solo goal at the Bernabeu on a famous night for the Gunners. They then beat Italian giants Juventus and Villarreal dramatically in the quarter-finals and semi-finals respectively to progress with a makeshift defense to the Champions League final in Wenger's home country against Barcelona. However, the night ended in tears for everyone associated with Arsenal. The game, hosted at the Stade de France, started in nightmare fashion, with Jens Lehmann being sent off for fouling Samuel Eto'o on the edge of the box. The 10-man Premier League side surprisingly took the lead through a Sol Campbell header and had big chances to take the game away from Barcelona. But late goals from Eto'o and Giuliano Belletti ensured Arsenal runners-up. This day will unfortunately haunt Wenger for the rest of his life. Thierry Henry was Arsenal's hero when they defeated Real Madrid in the Bernabeu in 2006. Wenger guided Arsenal to the Champions League final in 2006, but they lost against Barcelona 2006-07 Champions League last 16. Following the agony of the previous European campaign, Arsenal started the new one in strong fashion, winning the group stage ahead of Porto, CSKA Moscow and Hamburg. But the campaign, the first one at the Emirates, immediately came to a halt, with Arsenal losing on aggregate to Eredivisie side PSV in the round of 16. Following a 1-0 defeat in Holland, Arsenal were frustratingly held to a 1-1 draw at the Emirates, with Brazilian defender Alex scoring in the 83rd minute to knock the Gunners out. Alex and PSV knocked Arsenal out of the last 16 stage of the Champions League in 2006-07-2007-08 Champions League quarter-final. Once more, Arsenal's Champions League campaign was finished off by a Premier League rival. Following a second-placed finish in the group stage, Arsenal beat Italian giants AC Milan in the round of 16, with a brilliant 2-0 victory at the San Siro thanks to goals from Cesc Fabregas and Emmanuel Adebayor. However, they were then drawn against Liverpool in the last 8 stage and went no further. After a 1-1 draw at the Emirates in the first leg, Arsenal were 6 minutes away from securing a semi-final spot following an Adebayor goal at Anfield, but 2 late Liverpool goals meant the visitors were defeated 4-2 on the night. Liverpool beat Arsenal 5-3 on aggregate in the 2007-08 Champions League quarter-final stage. 2008-09 Champions League semi-final. This time it was the turn of Manchester United to stop Arsenal's European run. Arsenal, who finished second in the group stage, fended off Roma and Villarreal in the knockout rounds to reach the semi-finals of Europe's competition, where they would meet rivals United. Wenger's side lost 1-0 at Old Trafford and fancied their chances of turning the tie around at the Emirates, but they got off to the worst start possible. Park Ji-sung and Cristiano Ronaldo scored within the first 11 minutes to take the tie away from Arsenal before they ended up winning 3-1 in North London to knock Wenger's men out. Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester United comfortably beat Arsenal in 2008-09 semi-finals. 2009-10 Champions League quarter-final. Arsenal had to secure Champions League football this year through playoff, beating Scottish giants Celtic. They then went on to win the group stage before thrashing Portuguese outfit Porto in the quarter-finals. However, they were drawn against Barcelona, which would be the first time of many in the last 8 where they crashed at 6-3 on aggregate. After a 2-2 comeback draw at the Emirates, Lionel Messi worked his magic in the Nou Camp, scoring 4 times as Barcelona won 4-1 on the night. Lionel Messi proved the difference as he and Barcelona knocked Arsenal out in 20,100,000 and 2010-11 Champions League last 16. This campaign would be the first of 7 underwhelming exits in the last 16 stage of the Champions League, after finishing in a disappointing second in the group, which consisted of Shakhtar, Braga and Partizan Belgrade. They were handed a tricky last 16 tie against Barcelona once again. The Arsenal fans witnessed one of the most memorable nights at the Emirates, with Robin van Persie and André Arshavin scoring in the second half to ensure the Gunners won the first leg 2-1. However, Barcelona enjoyed another comfortable night at the Fortress against Wenger's side, winning 3-1 in the second leg thanks to a double from Messi and a goal from Xavi. Barcelona once again knocked Arsenal out of the Champions League in the following season. 2011-12 Champions League last 16. This time, Arsenal learned their lessons from the previous campaign, taking advantage of a relatively weak group to run out in first place. But they endured one of the most humiliating nights in Europe in the first leg of their last 16 tie with AC. The Italians thrashed a hopeless Arsenal 4-0 at the San Siro, leaving the English side with an almost impossible task of progressing. And in what would become known as typical Arsenal second-leg performance, they put in a spirited display at the Emirates but couldn't quite get over the line, beating the Italians 3-0. Arsenal were humiliated at the San Siro as AC Milan knocked them out in the round of 162,012-13 Champions League last 16. Arsenal were knocked out by familiar opponents Bayern this year after failing to make the most of a disappointing group stage. In a group made up of Schalke, Olympiacos and Montpellier, Arsenal finished in a poor second and were handed the ultimate tricky tie in the round of 16 against the German giants. Arsenal were never at the races in the first leg as they went down to a 3-1 defeat at home against Bayern and had it all to do at the Allianz Arena. And again, Arsenal went out in style on away goals, beating Bayern 2-0 on the night thanks to goals from Olivier Giroud and Laurent Koscielny. In 2013, Arsenal saw their Champions League hopes end against Bundesliga giants Bayern. 2013-14 Champions League last 16. It was becoming all too familiar with Arsenal fans at this stage and tensions were starting to really grow. They were knocked out yet again by Bayern at the same stage, after securing the spot in the last 16 following a second-placed finish in a fairly tough group. They couldn't push on and went out with a whimper. Wenger's side were defeated 2-0 at home with goalkeeper Wojciech Szczęsny picking up an early red card. And the away leg was far less spectacular this year, with Arsenal drawing 1-1 to ensure they crashed out on aggregate 3-1. Wojciech Szczęsny saw red during the first leg as Bayern beat Arsenal yet again in 20,142,014-15 Champions League last 16. Definitely Arsenal's most disappointing and embarrassing last 16 exits. After getting the luck of the draw, being handed a tie against underdogs Monaco following a second-placed finish in the group stage, Wenger's men were licking their lips with the thought of progressing further. However, they were soon brought down to earth after they fell to a humiliating 3-1 home defeat against the League One outfit. They made some amends in the second leg in Monaco, winning 2-0, but it wasn't enough as they were knocked out on away goals. Arsenal went into the last 16 tie against Monaco as favourites but crumbled under the pressure. 2015-16 Champions League. Last 16 Arsenal met Bayern in the group stage this time, and as a result of coming up against one of the best teams in Europe, they had to settle for second. But with progression sealed, they were left frustrated yet again after being drawn against European giants Barcelona once more. Wenger's men failed to put on a contest, losing 5-1 on aggregate, with Messi again proving the nemesis. Messi proved Arsenal's nemesis once again as Barcelona knocked them out easily in 20,162,016-17. Champions League. Last 16, the Arsenal faithful were buoyed on by a really strong group stage, beating rich League One giants Paris Saint-Germain to top spot. But you never would have guessed who they were drawn against in the round of 16. This time it wasn't Barcelona but Bayern yet again, which would turn out to be Wenger's most damaging European exits. Arsenal were thrashed 5-1 both home and away, losing 10-2 on aggregate in what turned out to be Wenger's last campaign in the Champions League as Arsenal boss. Bayern humiliated Arsenal 10-2 on aggregate in the 2016-17 Champions League season. 2017-18 Europa League semi-final. So it was the second tier of Europe for Wenger's Arsenal side this season, and they barely got out of first gear throughout. After topping the group, they faced Mino's Ostersunds in the round of 32, before beating a poor AC side and CSKA Moscow in the last 16 and quarterfinals respectively. And they were found wanting when they faced their first real tricky opponents in the Europa League. Despite controlling proceedings throughout the semi-final tie against Atletico, they were defeated 2-1 on aggregate following Thursday's 1-0 loss at the Wanda Metropolitano. So, Wenger leaves Arsenal without Champions League football from the second season running, and his dream of lifting a European trophy failed to materialize. Arsenal's Europa League campaign came to an end against Atletico Madrid on Thursday.